Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to On Your Mental. This is the podcast that shares candid, open, and sometimes vulnerable conversations between and about men. This week, Kabir and I are joined by my roommate, Evan, and his girlfriend, Fanny, who've been together for almost 8 years. And they're talking about their take on relationships and privacy within the relationship and privacy of the relationship to the public, social media, that kind of stuff. So I hope y'all enjoy this week's episode. If you're not already, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. And we'll see you in a moment when the episode starts. Peace.
Lift this up. Sit straight.
I am, kind of.
Well, our kids might see this one day.
Dude, we already clapped so long ago,
could.
man. We got to start.
I was just letting you get settled.
I'm in the zone.
Let's get nervous.
I don't know about her. I'm in the zone.
We're trying to
I'm in the zone.
posture up on these
why is my
fools
shirt
today.
Whoa, whoa, hey.
Very sexy. How do you guys do?
What the heck?
All right, now Fanny.
I didn't get the joke.
Anyways, welcome to the podcast. Welcome, Fanny. Fanny and Evan both repping the couple in this episode.
Is this
What
your
about you
first
guys?
couple?
Yeah, on the podcast, like at the same time.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Unless
Is there a curse?
Yeah, I think so.
a couple of the boys or something like that. I don't know.
Well, the rockin', are those pastel colors?
Yeah, we coordinated.
Sure.
Sage and
Lavender.
lavender.
H&M's finest threads.
This
There's
is
nothing
from
wrong with
Aritzia.
H&M. You can find some good stuff,
No,
some essentials.
Dude,
Cabs
the
is
man is
sponsored
wearing
by Abercrombie
Abercrombie.
and
Okay,
Fitch.
don't tell him H&M is good.
I got 5 shares of Abercrombie.
Smart
Beautiful.
guy.
On this week's episode, everybody is listening and watching. And also, I just want to toss a reminder out there for people who are just listening. We have a YouTube channel. So if you don't watch the video episodes, come and check us out. Anyways, today's episode, we're talking about relationship privacy, which is why we have you both here. Thanks, by the way, for volunteering, because, I mean, you're right.
Gun to your head.
Gun to your head.
Gun-
Get on the episode.
Okay, to save this relationship,
Pull
sure.
the trigger.
Pull the trigger. But the reason why we're going to talk about relationships and privacy is because, I don't know, it's just been on my mind recently. I've been thinking about keeping things private because I've been keeping my relationship private.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a relationship for a few months now, very happily. And I have chosen deliberately not to talk about it for some time because
Yeah.
I respect my partner's privacy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yourself.
I don't know. I don't know that you need to share every single thing in a relationship.
Yeah.
But then Cabs actually had this idea to talk about relationship
Mm-hmm.
privacy, and he came up with some pretty stellar questions.
Okay, Kabir's episode.
Kabir's little baby here. So we'll get into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
First off,
Yeah.
I have a question first.
Huh?
Do you prefer to use the term partner
Yeah, I think so.
Me
overall?
too.
I don't know. In 2022, it feels right.
Yeah.
I feel
Partner.
like
I
it's
feel like
more
it makes.
mature.
I feel like it makes people give a lot of assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It
you could
definitely
be, you
might
could
mean
be
that
like
I'm gay.
very. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
You know, but
I think it's the right thing to
a
say.
lot of people are
these
like
days.
shying
Yeah.
away from saying girlfriend, boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
I
I
don't
mean,
like
it's not.
it.
I don't think it's bad to say that, but
Mm-hmm.
partner's just very ambiguous.
I do wonder why. I feel like that.
But then you have to say boyfriend, girlfriend every single time.
I don't know. Boyfriend, girlfriend sounds almost childish to
Mm.
me. That's why I always say
Then would you
partner.
rather significant other?
That's like
Spouse.
too many syllables there.
It's good,
Partner's
yeah.
perfect. Significant other.
I feel like partner better represents what the relationship
Yeah.
is
Yeah, 'cause
in
it
like
could
a
be-
healthy stance.
and it's more neutral. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you've seen a TikTok about that where like this girl
No,
explains
man.
why she used the term partner.
Well,
instead
No
of-
way.
no one
I
has
think-
seen
I
it other
think-
than you, clearly. Because
Think about it this way. Someone's watching the podcast. They haven't labeled their relationship yet.
Mm.
And they're watching the
Mm.
podcast maybe together or separate, and we're talking about boyfriend, girlfriend.
yeah, I'm like,
And then this
throw them
person's
all.
like, wait, are we boyfriend, girlfriend?
What are we?
Oh.
Yeah, what are we?
I feel like
But
partner. I feel like
What
partner
are
is
you?
more serious.
I think partner could be like casual, but
Yeah,
could be
exactly.
serious.
I'm on
Okay.
Cab's
Mm.
side.
Guess
Partner.
so.
It's a partnership.
I guess it's up to your individual,
Mhm.
but
I see it as like a representation of how you look at the partnership. You're not like you each have your own lives still. You know, you're working together,
Yeah.
growing together. Right? I don't think that it's. Yeah, I feel like when you say boyfriend girlfriend, there's like certain societal assumptions around that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyways, so the first question and Cabs, by the way, prepared every question for this episode. I think they're sick. But the first question
Cabs.
I'll ask is about the balance of privacy and secrecy in a way. In a relationship, If there is too much privacy between what goes on in your lives, that can border on secrecy. If there's too little privacy in your lives where everything starts to get meshed together, that might start to make you feel a little bit claustrophobic in the relationship. So the question that Cabs was asking was, do you think, or what has worked rather for you in your relationship as far as finding that balance, whether it's regarding your personal lives, your work lives, family, secrets, whatever there might be? What has worked for you so far, and has that kind of changed as the relationship has grown?
Oh, you're looking at me?
You want to start it off?
Okay. I feel like when we first started dating, we were very public with our relationship. And granted, we were also really young. At least I was 16 to 17. So at that age and my maturity at that point, I thought like a relationship is something you'd want to like share to the world, let everybody know. Like I was super excited to like post Evan on my social media and stuff. But I think as I progressed and as you progressed, we kind of set boundaries on how much we'd like to share and keep private to ourselves. I've definitely matured since I was 17. We've been together for like almost 8 years now.
Yeah.
So I'm a completely different mindset with social media and privacy from that age. So I'm definitely a little more private now. I don't think I necessarily share too much of my relationship anymore. That's not because I'm trying to hide you. Don't worry. He's like, am I a secret? It's just because that's what I'm more comfortable with now.
Yeah. More towards the beginning of our relationship, it was definitely a lot like on a person to person basis. Like when we first started dating, there was a lot of things that not like every person has their like weird things about them that like they don't show other people, like, and everyone knows they have them, like something that you do that's like weird to yourself, and you don't like, unless you're really close with someone, then you don't really like let it out. And those are the kind of things that like you would hide from someone at the beginning of your relationship, right? And then the more like comfortable you get, whether it's like a year in or even further down the road, where you can like really open up about who you really are,
The weirdness kind of creeps
and
out.
there's like there's like small things.
I know your small things.
Yeah, but we're
There
not
are
gonna share
one.
them. Yeah, but we were not going to share those. Yeah.
So it sounds like from what you're saying there that you chose to be a bit more open and public about the relationship earlier on, and now you keep it private from other people. But what about like within the relationship and with yourselves? Like, are there things that you don't share between each other? Are there things that you, and is it like, maybe that was something that happened earlier on, like maybe earlier on in the relationship, you were a bit more reserved, and the weirdness, whether that be characteristics about you or info about you, just took a while to get out. And now 8 years in, probably know most things.
There's nothing.
There's absolutely
like,
not
literally,
anything that we don't
there's nothing
share.
I don't know about her. Yeah.
I feel like we know almost too much.
And you guys like prefer it that way.
Yeah.
Right? Or it just kind of comes naturally. Like
Yeah.
It's definitely more.
I didn't
natural.
know it was a preference. I think it's definitely more natural. Like, I don't know, when we first started dating, I think I was super open, and like again, I was 17 and super like immature, so I was super excited to have a boyfriend. So I felt like I was gonna share everything with you.
It worked out.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not like a secret person. I was saying to Evan that like I'm more of an introverted person, so like if I'm in a social setting, I'm definitely more reserved and quiet. But in my small group of friends, I will share everything.
Right.
That's who I feel comfortable with. So that's my take on like secrecy. It's like I'm not super outgoing, but if you're within my circle, then I have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
And Evan's obviously in your circle.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I guess.
I don't feel like you were saying, like, I don't feel like she's intruding on me, like, in my space, like, just because she knows everything about me, it's because I'm more willing to offer up any information about me, and like any new thing that's happening with me is something we always communicate about, right? There's nothing that I need to hide or tell. Like, everything's just super open book.
Right.
Probably because I live such a basic life that.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to tell you about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always happy.
I understand that. Like, for the most part, I think I do share everything so far too. Right. And anything new that happens in my day, I'm sharing it, Do you think that there's a difference, and this is a question for everybody, do you think there's a difference between secrecy and privacy? What does that look like in a relationship to you? Maybe even, this is like very different dynamic. So I'm fairly early into my current relationship. Y'all are 8 years in. Cabs is not in a relationship at the moment.
Yeah.
Right?
number one.
I think there's definitely different. Like, say, like, at the very beginning of a relationship, most people, and even people that are like 30 years in, it just depends on the kind of person you are. A lot of people are very private about their finances and that kind of stuff, right?
Sure.
Like a man and a woman, like you might not tell your girlfriend how much you make, like you might know your job, obviously, but some people don't talk about that. So like that's privacy, and that someone could be like respectful of, but then there's a borderline. Like if there's something wrong with your like finances, or you have like this like crazy debt and you're going into a relationship with someone and they don't know about that, then that's just like, now you're hiding secrets from them, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference there. So that's something that could
like when there's a need to hide something, then it's kind of like a dirty secret.
There's guilt associated behind that you're not sharing. I feel like that's secrecy, and that's not necessarily right. But like I agree with what you said about privacy there.
I was talking to my mom's about it, and she was saying how like a secret to her is, and I agreed with what she was saying, is like something that you are keeping from somebody that you know would affect them. Right. So in terms of finances, right, if you were keeping something about your income away from each other, is it okay for me to say that y'all moved or just got a place? So you are becoming homeowners, right? And if you didn't share everything about your finances, that could be problematic if you're becoming homeowners with each other, right? Like that's, now you are dependent on one another in a way,
exactly,
for your income and your finances too, right? So if you're keeping an enormous debt from somebody, but like early on you might not want to talk about this kind of stuff, right? And you don't have to
early on. I don't think so. I think it depends.
I think it depends what stage you're at, you know. If you're casually seeing someone, then it's not
like whatever.
Doesn't really matter.
But if you're buying a home,
but once you get to that certain point,
then you need that transparency.
I think so. I mean, there's still like, I see all the time on Reddit, like people like don't know much about their partner's finances, or they have those situations where the male will hold all the money and do everything with the finances, and the wife has no clue what's going on, and that's not cool.
What do you guys think about that idea of like controlling what each other spends? You know, like when there's like a joint account.
Joint, just right off the bat, I don't know if I like joint
accounts.
I
know. I don't think it works.
I'm kidding.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, we don't have a joint account.
But maybe one day. No, I'm kidding. No. I think
it's all about personal stuff, but you just need to be on the same page. If you guys both want to run it whatever way, then that's fine. But
follow up to that, then it sounds like things have changed over time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, are there things today still that you wouldn't talk about? Not that you, like a topic. I'm not going to get you to talk about stuff that you wouldn't talk about with each other, but a topic that you wouldn't talk about.
No.
I really can't think of one.
No,
like, okay, how about you tell us one topic you wouldn't feel comfortable sharing, and then we'll tell you.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, what if your friends, there's gossip with your friends?
No.
They know.
They know everything.
mean, I don't tell them everything, but obviously something's going on, and it's like kind of fun to talk about it. Okay, sorry, not fun, but
I'm sure it's fun. Sometimes.
It can be.
Come on, Kaz. Yeah, it could
but
be
it's
fun,
not like it's. I don't know. We have this trust between us. It's not like other people, like the gossip between the friends. It's going everywhere. You think you're the only couple that talk about it. Every couple talks about it.
I think it's naive to think that.
I guarantee.
You know what? It's a guarantee.
It's a guarantee.
My ex used to get mad at me for not telling her the gossip.
Yeah, but guess what? How did your ex know about the gossip? Because someone told her. If someone tells you that, if it wasn't your boyfriend that tells you, I'd be pissed too. Like, why am I hearing it from someone else? If it was that crazy, then how do they know?
But that's Cav's the boundary, though, right?
Yeah,
so
that's the thing.
She was hearing gossip about the gossip, and I was like,
is there a problem with, say, Kabir setting a boundary like that, where he doesn't want to share that side of his life? Because that to him, that would be private then, right? To you, that was considered private.
To me, if I'm hearing something like that, it's a private thing. It's not supposed to get out, even though I know it will get out, but I'm thinking I'm not going to let it get out through me.
You're not the one responsible for that.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one responsible for that getting out. So
I guess that makes sense.
Because I feel like that comes to the idea of like privacy versus secrecy.
I mean, it's also about you want to respect your friends.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like personally, like I'm gonna be with her for life. You know, that's what I think, and I'm gonna live in the same house as her. Like we know everything about each other, so my friends could probably assume that like if you're telling me something, you're telling her something.
No one's telling you anything after this.
I mean, we've already talked about it.
Yeah,
like, they know.
That makes sense to me. I guess I just didn't see the future.
No, I mean it's true. If you've only been in a relationship for a little while, right? Like at the very beginning, there was a lot of stuff I didn't tell her, right? That went on with you guys. things like that,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it wasn't.
Talk about that.
There's nothing you don't know now.
But I feel like that's
like,
part of the growing in the
Yeah.
relationship, right? Like early on right now, I might not say every single thing that happens
Yeah,
in our
you
friend
have
group,
to.
right?
Yeah.
But if there's like funny shit going on, of course, I'm reading
Yeah.
through it. I'm giving the play-by-play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's interesting to me, right? That's
Yeah.
something that happened in my day, and I'm talking about that.
Yeah.
But if there was stuff that was going on that doesn't affect my partner in any way,
Then you.
Like some
then
hard-
maybe I
yeah,
wouldn't
there's some,
talk
like,
about it at the
hard-hitting
moment,
topics you
right?
won't.
Yeah.
So far, I haven't run into it, but you
I don't
know.
know. I feel like Evan's my best friend, so I want to tell him everything. I don't share with him like super, super juicy details of stuff that my friends tell me in secrecy. That's not true.
I think one thing that kind of like, it doesn't make it any better or worse per se, but like if I tell her something, like you know all my friends, but like you really couldn't give a rat's ass. You know what I mean?
Right.
You tell me
Yeah, like, no
something about
offense.
you tell me something about your friends. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, can't believe they did that, and then I just go on about my day. and
Yeah.
that's
Back
it.
to the game.
Yeah. Like it
That's
doesn't really
true.
affect
That is
anyone.
true.
You know?
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
when he's on the
That's
7th, that's
crazy.
crazy, and she
Yeah.
doesn't stop.
I got my earphone off. Yep.
Like,
Okay.
babe,
Yeah. Well, she did what?
you really
Hold
say
on,
that?
yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Put the
I can't
headphone
believe they
back
do
on.
that.
Yeah. You know how it is.
I agree with you on that, right? Sometimes it is just like, because they are your best friend, right? When you're in a relationship, sometimes you just want to share
I hope
everything,
they are.
right? And it's not like they might not care, but they
Yeah.
listen, and you enjoy listening to your partner, right? I love listening to everything that she has to say. And so I think it's a back and forth, right?
Yeah.
I think it's both ways. But to keep us on this topic of privacy and everything, and privacy within the relationship, have you ever gone through each other's phones? And I have my thoughts about this, and I'll share my thoughts first because
Okay.
I already know your answer, but our
Oh,
audience
yeah,
doesn't.
I think a more appropriate question: how many times? Yeah.
God, I lost count. I'm kidding.
I'll share how I feel about this, and maybe even Cabs will, and then y'all give us your stance.
Okay.
To me, your phone is an extension of you. To
Right.
me, a phone is a very private matter. To me, any piece of technology is.
Yeah.
To me, my partner going through my phone would be the equivalent of them going through my diary or through my journal.
Yeah.
That is private. That's for myself. It's not that I'm hiding things in there. It's just, if you needed to go into it, ask, and I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
I think that this question is more, the way that I read it at least, was like when your partner's going through without you knowing.
Oh, snooping.
Snooping, a little bit of
Oh,
snooping
yeah.
around,
snooping.
right? Because snooping feels like you're not trusting in that moment, maybe.
Yeah.
Not to
Yeah.
accuse anything here, but that's just the way I feel, is that it's technology in our current world is very private.
Yeah.
You do so much of your life with it, and it's you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. It's extension.
there are
of you.
things in there that maybe just you want to keep to yourself. It's private. How about you, Caps? How do you feel about going through phones?
I was like, hell no.
Well, no, I was thinking about it the snooping way and also the non-snooping way.
Mm-hmm.
But the snooping way, I for sure think is totally wrong. You can just ask.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, just ask. Just ask.
But the non-snooping way, I still feel like I guess it depends on your boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on how close you are in the relationship too. If it's like you guys, then just asking is like probably not a big deal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to me, I've experienced that before where my
it
girlfriend at the
backfire?
time has like, she's like, oh, can I like go through your phone? Or like in like a, it was like a tense kind of situation.
Accusatory kind
And
of.
she was kind of like being, I don't know.
Looking for some.
She was trying to look
Yeah,
for something. She was
it's
looking.
exactly.
She was
It's
looking
like
for
the-
some dirt or something.
reason
There's a part of it
behind
that
it.
feels like you're trying to find a problem sometimes.
Yeah, right.
It's like the
That's
idea
what
of
makes
looking
it
through it.
like, I would say, like, if she's using my phone, it's like purely like entertainment basis. Like, oh, like, what's he talking about today? Like, okay,
Then we get
like,
another round of Uno. In.
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
out.
100%.
all the time is always the Uno. That's probably the only reason she has my phone these days, is to play Uno.
Then we get another 5
But,
tries.
you know,
on
there
World.
might have been like something like funny that we talked about in the WhatsApp, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, I don't want to explain it to you. Like, take it and read it.
Read it.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. You know,
Mhm.
that kind of thing, because I just don't want to explain the story.
The other day we had the justice thing in our group chat
Yeah.
where there was a VPD, Vancouver Police, posting about trying to catch a criminal, right, who had pushed somebody down the stairs.
Oh, I saw
They
that.
got
And
him,
a
by the
friend
way.
oh, did
Did
they?
they
Great.
get him?
Good.
Great. They
Good.
got that
was terrible.
scumbag.
Justice for Troy.
But Troy liked the post
No,
on
I think
Instagram, and then Evan or somebody screenshot, Cab screenshot it.
Like,
He goes, "Wow, Troy!"
I can't believe you like that.
And then we just start making jokes because Troy's like, "Oh, I'm just happy that they're bringing these scumbags to justice." And then we just made all these jokes, and it was I thought it was hilarious. I was like cracking up like while I was reading it. And so later I passed it to her and I said like, "Yo, like,
You
look,
just
like,
gotta see it, right?
You gotta see it. You gotta see it because
makes
otherwise,
it-
if you're talking, it's like when you explain a joke. It's not funny when you explain a joke.
Yeah.
So I think there are moments where sharing your phone, sharing technology with your partner, that's fine. I find it. I only have an issue with the snooping way. Ask me, and you'll get to look, do whatever. But I have a problem with the snooping way.
For sure.
So you two. How many times have you gone through each other's phones?
Wait, have you ever snooped through my phone like in that kind of way? I don't think so.
Snoop? No.
Really? Don't lie.
No.
I was gonna be honest.
No, you're not.
It's funny. There's at one point where we actually didn't know each other's passcodes. And then eventually in our relationship where like she found out, or like I told her like the passcode to my phone, and then she ended up switching her passcode to my passcode. So now we've had the same passcode for
I don't know why I did
5
that.
years
We
now.
have the same passcode. We had the same pin.
Now she like
Probably
took it all.
shouldn't say
I
that.
was
The same
like,
pin on your card?
Yeah.
she just took it all from me.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
But
just morphed
that's
into
where like
one.
that's where the level of trust is at.
Yeah.
All the same. Our passwords for all of our accounts are not the same.
But I know all his passwords. He knows all mine.
That's seriously open book. I could wake up with my bank accounts wiped. And she's gone. I wouldn't know where it went. You know.
Do you think that you would have, like now, 8 years in, right? You're comfortable with it. You'll share. I imagine most couples will be very comfortable sharing just about everything when they're as long into the relationship as you two are.
Right.
Do you think you would have been as okay with you are today, having the same pin, right? Being able to go into each other's phones whenever you want to, let's say a year into the relationship, 2 years.
No,
And we
that's too early. Yeah. At that point, I think I was the type to want to snoop, to be honest, because again, maturity level was not very high.
Neither was mine. So, I mean, you lived with us 5 years ago.
Yes.
And you could see there's a large difference.
Huge
in
difference.
how we operate with each other.
Yeah.
A lot less toxic.
And that's a good thing. That's you guys are just grown, right? You guys have matured.
Yeah,
You've come a very long way in your relationship. But I feel like perhaps that bit of like early on in the relationship it doesn't work is like you still have a lot of questions early on in the relationship about what your partner's life was before you.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know everything yet. You're taking some time to get caught up because you can't get caught up that fast. You know, you can't really know everything. But I feel like there must almost be like a turning point in the relationship where from then on, it's just like you've been together so long now, you know everything from way before. It doesn't matter. So you've been caught up. There's nothing that you could have missed, you know, like at that point. And it just takes some time to get there maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to make a bold statement here. You tell me if you agree or disagree with it. Surrendering some of your individuality is part of the falling in love process, but surrendering it all can result in you possibly losing yourself in the relationship.
Agree or
and
disagree?
what I mean, agree or disagree. But what I mean by that is if you're fully surrendered into the relationship, well, I'm just giving a scenario here, but let's say you break up. Who are you then?
Yeah.
You're half a person, maybe. Maybe. Agree or disagree?
I
Disagree.
Well,
I agree.
You think you're half a person if you broke up with your girlfriend?
No, I think that if you surrender yourself too much.
Okay.
If you do.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that.
But the first part of the statement, though, is do you think that is a necessary part of the falling in love process is kind of surrendering some of your individuality and some of your life?
I agree. You need like a certain degree of like vulnerability to get into a relationship. And if that means like sacrificing a little bit of your independence, I think that's fair.
I can no longer fart whenever I want.
Really?
And that's
your independence?
That's what I've
Oh
surrendered.
my god.
You surrendered that?
I've surrendered.
Yeah. Okay, well,
If Fanny
gave up a bodily function to be with this woman.
I thought she surrendered her right to tell you when to fart.
I guess I didn't think about it like that. Okay, I'm sorry. Farting is so important.
I'm more mindful, you know, like if you're, it's just one of the things that I do to be a good boyfriend. You know,
It's
if
not
I'm gonna
fun.
if I'm
So
gonna let no
we
if I'm
break up,
gonna
you're
let if
not
I'm gonna let it rip, I'll leave the room or I'll go somewhere else. So it doesn't.
Nice guy.
snub, 'cause
I don't
I'm a
think
nice
that's what
guy.
he meant, bro.
What do you mean? That's surrendering something. That is. All right, then we'll cut it out. Then
No. I mean, depending on how much you value your
Farting
farts.
as being independent? Like, you make that.
it's not
I
talking
think
about like that. It's still it could be.
Yeah.
It could.
interpreted.
You're giving up something that you did before being together,
Yeah.
Okay.
right?
fair.
And yes, us men, we like to stink up the joint sometimes.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the podcast, Fanny.
I'm giving visibility to
true.
women here. Okay.
The way that I'm hearing the question, though, is like you're giving up things that you used to do before being in the relationship to be in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a precarious balance, I think.
Yeah.
I think that if you don't give up everything, it feels like you're not spending time with the person. That's something I used to talk about a lot in the episodes, like back in season 2.
You didn't
where I
have
was
enough time. For...
Yeah, I was worried that was at least one of my main reasons of thinking I didn't want to be in a relationship, and it was the main reason was I felt like I didn't have enough time to give, right? And now after meeting my current partner, it was like,
Yeah.
oh sweet, things hit off right away. Like absolutely, I can
right.
make time. Like things are gonna be great.
I see
know what
the
I'm
way he's
saying?
asking the question. There was a friend, not gonna name names, a friend in the past that when it was a boys' night, he could never come because his significant other isn't invited. Like it's a boys' night, and then she wasn't okay with that, or she wasn't like, yeah, she wasn't
Wanted to
okay with
come.
it, right? So then it was always like, oh, he had to surrender that, like the boys' nights that we would have because of his relationship, in a sense, you know. And luckily, no, I haven't had to do that. But like, I don't think I've had to surrender things that I haven't really had to give up much. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but it's just like our personalities and the things we value match very well that there's not much to surrender in that sense.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like if you're dating someone where you do need to do that, like, well, how compatible are you really
You're
if
surrendering
you're
a
having
lot.
to give up a lot, you know?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I don't feel
in
like
my opinion.
I've ever surrendered anything because we understand each other and we understand like time apart and time together. So
I feel like you both value your time apart quite a bit.
oh yeah,
You know,
yes.
like you
In a
want to go
sense.
and do your girls' nights, right? I see, being my roommate, obviously, Evan, I see Fanny here a lot, right? Like for people listening, watching.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like I see you always like make time for others. You'll be on FaceTime with your friends doing whatever while Evan's sitting there gaming
Playing
away,
games, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's your
I
time
think
in the same space.
Yeah.
one thing, like, it just basically, like, with the living situation, obviously, we have 2 men, 2 couples in the house. So it's hard to, like, space-wise, what we're going to do. But, you know, when eventually, you know, we're moving in together in a couple months, right? And we'll be able to take that time apart in different rooms. You know,
Right.
I could be in the den doing my thing. You could be somewhere else. So
Have a
you just have to hear
physical
me,
space.
like, yelling at kids online, you know, right beside her.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So I feel like, yeah, there might be some times where it'd be like, oh, she needs to go to bed, so now I'm going to stop gaming because, I mean, those are like small things. I wouldn't say I'm surrendering my individuality, but it's just some things you have to do, you know?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've ever had to surrender anything.
So sweet.
So I would
Ugh.
agree that if you
No.
did have to surrender a lot of
A
things,
lot,
then
then
yeah,
that's
you kind of would be like,
Probably red
and
flag.
it especially depends for how long, kind of in a sense. You might not be able to go back to something that you gave up, you know?
Right.
You set a precedent. That's exactly what I was thinking, is like once you've done something
Yeah.
or once you've set a standard for the things you're willing to sacrifice, it is hard to double back on that, right? You can, but if you're mature, you have a good conversation about it, you can, right? Earlier on when my partner and I had started dating, there was a tiny little period of time where it felt like, oh, like I'm not feeling like I have enough time. She wasn't feeling like she had enough of her own time either.
Yeah.
We had lost a bit of routine that we were used to because since we've met each other, we've been with each other almost every single day, right? And so like we went from a place where we were on our own, doing just fine, met each other, and just because we clicked so well, like we've chosen and been happy to be spending basically every day with each other. But then we started to realize, oh, I'm not doing some of the same things I used to do.
Yeah.
And so we had a talk, and we actually had a conversation about like what we do want back from what we did before. And we discussed, and sometimes we're not the best at doing that now. For example, it was like I said that I wanted to have like a date night at least once a week, and we still go out probably about once a week, maybe not every week, but at least once a week. I still wanted to have a date night,
Yeah.
but I also wanted to have a couple nights a week where I do get to play games, because between work, podcasts, and now spending
Editing.
time with my girlfriend,
Yeah.
it's like the game time was very easy to kind of slip away. And it's not that I was unhappy to do it, right? Like it's like it wasn't like an angry sacrifice, but it was like we started to realize I was missing that time again, right? So that had to be brought back.
That's a good approach.
But you can, I think, overextend, and then it creates a problem if you aren't willing to have the conversation to bring something back, you know?
Slippery slope.
How do you feel
Slippery
about that,
slope.
Kabir? Did you feel in your past relationship that you might have surrendered anything?
Me?
Yeah.
Maybe my earliest relationship for sure. You remember that one?
Yes.
That was, you didn't see me very much.
Mm.
I've definitely learned from that one.
Came back.
And then moving on. But like but now I think it's taken a negative toll on future, more recent relationships where I'm very quick to set those boundaries now. You know, like I'm
pretty firm about them.
Yeah,
Very
I feel I almost get defensive a little bit right away if there's any sort of talk of where she's like, "Well, why do you need that time?" or something like that. Then
It's like, why wouldn't I need that time?
yeah, it's almost like
like a
that.
threat?
I'm thinking in my head, it's almost a threat,
Like
a trigger.
threat of independence.
In a past relationship, I missed 2 New Year's in a row because just somehow got into fights around New Year's, and it's like I got so upset I didn't get to spend time with my friends, but I set a precedent of, I'm willing to
do
not be firm.
Yeah.
I'm willing to not say how I'm feeling because I was so concerned about making sure that this person was fine, right? And so to Cabs' point, you learn from these things, right? You learn from these things and you move on. And like I've talked in the past about like struggling with communication. I've not always been the best communicator about how I'm feeling when I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
I tend to like sit on how I'm feeling, and I try to make a point now of like saying how I'm feeling, or if I've got something on my mind, or even if I'm just not sure why I'm feeling frustrated. I have said to my girlfriend, I've said like, I am frustrated right now. I'm not sure what it is, right? I'm in a bad mood. I'm sorry, right? And it's like, maybe Cabs made the face there. I feel like that's like, I shouldn't even say I'm sorry that I'm in a bad mood.
No,
That's exactly what that face was.
Well, unless you did something wrong.
No, I don't think you're saying sorry for being in a bad mood. You're saying sorry.
I'm sorry that it's affecting.
Because they could tell,
right?
Like, even if I'm in a bad mood, and even if I don't say anything like rude to Fanny or to your partner, they know like the way that they have to act around you is changed. They can't really like be full on themselves, right? Maybe they're in a joking mood and you're just pissed, and anything they may say, you might be like snap at them for some reason, right? That's kind of why.
That's you to me when you're joking mood and I'm pissed off.
Don't worry. If you just make enough jokes, they'll come around.
No,
you just gotta keep.
You gotta get one that they laugh
rolling.
at, and then you're okay.
You just gotta keep it rolling.
This is
Tossing
toxic.
him out.
What, being funny is toxic?
No, using jokes as a distraction is tough.
Yeah, but you're not mad at me. You're mad
That's
at
the
something
thing.
else. If
But
you were mad at me, then I wouldn't make jokes.
Yeah.
But if you were mad at something else, I would try and make you feel better because I'm a jokey guy.
But that is the difference, though, is that some people will not communicate when they are frustrated with their partner.
Yeah.
If you are, you should say it, right? That shouldn't be private in a relationship. That is a secret. If you're mad at your partner about something, or if you're upset about something, or you need to know something about your partner, you have to ask, right? You have to say it. Because otherwise, because you care about each other, you're going to sit there and you're going to be worrying about how the other person's feeling.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to communicate. Cliche as it is. Now, at the start of our conversation, we asked a question, and I said, like, being private, but within yourselves. Fanny, you started to talk about being private with other people, and that's okay,
So
because that's the other part
I'm a
of the
rookie to
conversation
this.
today is about how you are private in a world of social media. You know, quick question, and this is about what you said. You said you were excited to post your relationship. You were excited to show the world.
Yeah. Oh,
Look at my
cringe.
boyfriend.
Oh.
But let's say you're in a relationship, it's early on,
Yeah.
right? And your partner asks you, why haven't you posted me on Instagram yet?
Like,
what's your response
dead
to that?
serious.
Dead serious.
Yeah, that's
Well,
Why won't you accept me on Facebook?
we've been through that. Like, in all honesty, we've been through that. It's like, oh, why haven't you posted Instagram?
Why am I
haven't you
story?
that? And then I would just be like, I really just like, it's just, I don't use it that much, or it's not a lot. Like, it's just, I feel like wasted effort in a way. Like, if it feels right, I'll do it. I'm not gonna go like purposely try and find something. And that's kind of how I try to explain it.
Thing then.
Yeah.
Which at the time like didn't really bode over well. But it's funny because like now though, now
I'm like,
I'll like take a Snapchat like at dinner, and then she'll be like, don't post that.
Don't,
Like, why are you taking photos
don't
of
take
me? And I'm
photos of
like,
me.
all right, like, sorry, I tried now. So it's a kind of flip,
Sorry, I love
you know,
Yeah.
like,
No, it's different.
Yeah,
If my partner came to me and said, why won't you post to Instagram? I think the initial reaction is like, why are you asking me?
Why do you want me to post
Yeah,
on
like,
Instagram?
why?
What does it mean to you?
But I think you also need to think about the other person, right? They're
Mhm.
obviously coming to you and saying that to you for a reason. So I think let's try to understand. But it's dependent
I
on
think-
boundaries.
I think it's just based on like personal insecurities, kind of in a way.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, especially like when we were younger, that's kind of at least what it was, I
Mhm.
would say. But
'Cause-
now that like we're older, like we could really don't care at all.
I don't
you
care
know?
at all. Like,
Mhm.
totally.
The only thing we post photos when we travel, just because like
Mm.
I'm excited to like show
where I've
people I've
been.
been to a new place. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm excited about.
yeah.
Flexing
And
on
it
'em.
just so happens that we're together in these places. So yeah, we'll
Mhm.
post a photo. But like, I think if you like looked at either of our Instagrams, like
You think we're single?
yeah, you wouldn't like you'd see like one or two photos of each other, but it doesn't really like mean anything.
Mhm.
And we're both okay with that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's funny how it's changed.
What about you, Reuben?
Me? That
What if she comes over now and says it?
Right now.
Yeah. Turns off the camera and whispers it.
she actually did ask me the other day when I was showing her these questions, and she asked what did you ask? Yeah, you asked what. Yeah. why haven't you posted me on Instagram?
Because you wouldn't even be able to see it.
That too. That's part. Yeah, you know what? I didn't say that at the time. My partner, my girlfriend, does not have Instagram. She doesn't have any social media, and I
so
respect
cool.
that about her. I think that's really cool. My last post was my last birthday, the 25th birthday. So it's over a year old now, right? Like I don't post on Instagram for my
But you
private
were
Instagram.
super active before in your like
I
previous
was active
relationship.
before. Yeah, I did post things, right?
then what
and
changed?
Well, photo shoots and
yeah, I went and I got my photos taken. Okay, that's fucking sick. All right, they were good photos.
I love the beanie one.
Yeah, looks like a
love
burglar
reminds me of that Teddy from Bob's Burgers.
from Bob's Burgers. Whatever. She likes the beanie one too.
They look
Anyways,
good. They
I
look
don't know
good.
which one that is. I'm sorry, I don't like go on your Instagram.
We'll laugh at it later.
that's the thing.
I mean, well,
Like, bro, stalk her with Instagram for fun.
that's our friend.
But yeah, no, it's like I don't use Instagram now, right? The way that I've changed
changed.
is my Instagram now is the On Your Mental Instagram, right? Like that's what I post on. I post this. Like I don't like spending a lot of time on social media other than TikTok. I scroll through social media on TikTok. But even when I go to post on the On Your Mental page, it's like just to quickly check any notifications, get the post out, and like close the app.
Like
I'm
the
done
comments,
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interact. Exactly. Engagement. Right. So just the way I use it has changed.
I
Anyways.
think
I think everyone. I think that's like a common
Yeah.
thing though
Mm.
amongst everyone. People don't really use Instagram anymore.
But I think when you're younger, though, those things
Exactly,
did
yeah,
matter, right?
yeah.
When we were younger, it definitely did. I don't know, like, how much.
Initials in the
kids
bio.
use
I
it
bet
now.
the question
Initials
is,
in the
question
bio.
is, why aren't you making TikToks with me now? That's how it is.
She doesn't
We've
even
moved
use
on.
TikTok. Yeah. I don't know. I would. That's my answer to answer your question, Cass.
Yeah.
What would my answer
Fair
be?
enough.
I think that yes, when you're younger, these things matter. You wanted to show it off,
Yeah,
blah blah blah. You
excited.
wanted to announce to the world, look, I have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. Who cares?
And now who cares?
It's
No,
also
literally,
kind of.
who
It was also kind of like everyone did it at that young age, right? So
Mhm.
you're, I don't know.
There's a
maybe
level of peer
little bit
pressure
about
to it.
fitting in. Yeah, like everyone, like so many couples had like their initials in their bios, right? And
Mhm.
everyone would just
Oh,
do the same thing, or like
cringe.
put a date, like your anniversary date. Like, I don't know. There's so many.
Put a little padlock on there.
Yeah,
like,
she
a little heart.
actually, I used to have this one
Taken.
bio on Instagram. It was just so embarrassing,
You're
and she still brings it up to like roast
put,
me.
like-
every
What was
now
the
and
bio?
then.
EDM and
I
then
don't wanna
music
hear it,
emoji,
no, like-
gym, muscle emoji,
No.
4N, like,
Like,
airport emoji.
No, they were canceled.
I was like, okay.
Like it's actually crazy the stuff I did when I was 20.
Yeah.
No, I'll pass.
That's so funny.
I feel like as we've gotten older, these things don't matter to us anymore.
Mhm.
No,
Right, the
I
younger
wonder if
people, maybe
kids
they do.
care now these
Yeah,
days.
I feel so out of touch.
Right? Oh, God, I don't know.
Like,
Guys,
well,
what are
it
the
might
kids
be-
saying? Right?
Yeah.
You could still see
Yeah.
like from like a young girl's perspective, right? Like
Mm.
say like the guy doesn't he doesn't bring you out with his friends. He doesn't
Mm.
put you on Instagram.
Mm.
He doesn't like introduce you to his parents, and then the first question will be, oh, why won't you put me on Instagram? That might be like the easiest question to ask.
Out
Like,
of all
why
those.
aren't you
Yeah.
posting a photo of me? Right?
There's
like,
a lot
are
loaded
you
behind
embarrassed
that,
of
you know?
me?
Yeah.
You know?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And
it might not be like, because I could say from like a person that's like, yeah, I really don't care about Instagram, but like she knows my family, right? Like obviously that kind of stuff. I'm not embarrassed. I invite her out with my friends, but if all those other like hints are coming to the girl, then that might be the first question she asks, like, oh, why aren't I on your Instagram? Something like that, you know?
And do you think it's a fair question to ask? Or is it a question? To me, this whole idea around social media is literally the track Facebook story on Blonde, Frank Ocean's album, Caps, where it is about, why won't you accept me on Facebook? Yeah. I don't need to accept you on Facebook. What does it matter? Like, what's the point of it?
I don't think that question, when that question's asked, doesn't have anything to do with the social media. It has to do about like sharing the security of the relationship. Like, what's wrong with being seen with me? You know? And if you're not showing it in other ways, then social media might be one of the only ways, you know?
I think that sharing with social media is very different from sharing with family and friends.
Yeah.
I think sharing a relationship or sharing your relationship with family and friends is that should be something that happens.
Yeah, that's important.
Exactly, it should be.
Right? I don't think you should. If you're a few months into the relationship and you haven't met your partner's friends, maybe ask why you haven't met your partner's friends. Does your partner have friends?
Yeah, like let's establish
what's going on here?
Exactly.
That to me would be a red flag.
My friends are really weird.
But like she's met most of you at this point, right? Yeah, I think that would be a bit of a red flag for me. Would be if my partner was not wanting to introduce me to family, friends.
Is it a red flag that they ask you why you don't post them on social media?
No, because my reasoning I think is fair enough that I don't use it. So why would a post matter? I'd be posting it just to post. You know? Relationships with your partner are one thing, but you are in a relationship with their family in a sense, right? And I think that this could be a whole other topic, but there are going to be a lot of reasons why someone might not want to introduce you to their family. It might not be that you're embarrassed of your partner. It might be that you don't want to let your partner into the relationship that you have with your parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe it's not the best relationship. Maybe there are reasons that you don't want to introduce that side of you, right? Is that privacy or is that secrecy? I think it's more privacy.
There's a saying that like if you're marrying someone, you're marrying their family, right? And it depends really where you are in that relationship, right? Like I hope that like people our age now are dating to marry. I mean, people do whatever they want with a relationship, but like usually the older you get, the more like close, like you want to find someone you're gonna spend your life with if you believe in marriage or that kind of stuff. But like like when you're young, you might not see a reason to, you know?
Yeah, if you're not taking the relationship like very seriously, like if you think it's just like a fling, then like
it all depends what you want out of it.
I remember seeing in movies it was like a big deal when the people are going to meet the parents. You know what I mean? Meet the Fockers. Yeah, there's not a whole movie about that shit.
I'm watching it.
Right? But to me, like that's kind of like a milestone sometimes too. Is it is like a marker 100%. For how serious you are with the relationship. Is meeting the family.
Yeah, it shows you're like committed. In my opinion,
this isn't just a fling.
Yeah,
you know, this is more than that.
We've
met each other's parents.
Woo!
Nothing wrong with that, you said?
Nothing wrong with
what? What did you say? Nothing wrong with
nothing wrong being married.
A fling?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing.
That's true. Nothing is wrong with
the fling. No, we're not saying that there's anything wrong with the fling.
But, as long as you're both okay with it being a fling, then
they don't want to have one person taking it seriously and the other person.
Yeah. Well, that's where those arguments would come up. Like
we've kind of touched on this a little bit, and it's the idea of a younger generation, even ourselves when we were younger, kind of seeking validation in a way, from others, right? When you look at or think back to ourselves when we were in our early, let's say, 20s, late teens.
Hey, I'm in my early 20s still. Okay.
Are you?
She's on the good side of 25.
Yeah, I'm 24. That's early.
Ruben's
don't age me here.
Whatever.
I'm kidding.
Mid-20s, dude.
Mid-20s,
Ruben's ages.
24, 25,
God,
26.
Early is up to 23 tops.
Oh, God, I'm getting hot. I'm having a crisis here. Okay.
Younger generations, potentially, at least the way that I see it, and I think, Cabs, you see it this way too, because you asked this question, they may seek validation more.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you think that is? Why do you think when you were younger, you wanted to post your boyfriend? When you're older, you don't give a shit and you tell him to delete the Snapchat, right, and not post it. Why is there that difference?
Probably just the high school lifestyle. Like when you're in high school, everything's different, right? Popularity contests, things like that.
Popularity contests.
That's why people seek
validation.
Yeah,
right?
but I think when you're younger, you're just like almost you feel like you need to prove yourself in some stupid way. At least that's how I felt when I was like 17. I was just like probably insecure. But then as we've, stabilized our relationship and as I've matured, like I don't feel like I need to post anything for validation anymore. Like it doesn't matter. I used to care about like likes and stuff when I was in grade 11 and grade 12.
So
like,
you're in high school.
Yeah, so I got 100 likes. That's so cool. Like, but then like
100.
Yeah, like okay. But then it's like, who cares? Like,
yeah, you just get to that.
It means nothing. It literally means nothing.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that in a way goes back to what? Whoa, hey now.
Whoa, swinging.
I feel like that in a way goes back to what AJ was saying last week.
Yeah,
which is that it doesn't matter.
Say that.
Oh, sorry. Take my point.
Let me
it's
say
AJ's
that
point, actually.
So what AJ was talking about last week, where he was saying, when you're more in tune with yourself, you're more confident, you've got less insecurities, and you know what you're all about. So people don't have that in high school and in their earlier years because they don't have that experience.
I agree.
And so it's like having a relationship at that point is like, look, I'm doing something good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, let me show this cool thing off. Look, I'm not a loser.
Yeah.
I'm fucking cool.
Like,
I
no one
managed to get a
cares,
boyfriend. Right? And now it doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah.
The same thing that we were kind of like trying to get across with the episode last week was that it doesn't matter. It's exactly what you're saying. It doesn't matter. There shouldn't be a pressure to post and like share your whole personal life with the world. Some people like doing it though.
Exactly. Yeah, some people do. So like, power to them. Like, no judgment.
Some people post way too much on TikTok about their personal life.
It's way too much.
Like how much they show.
That's something I find really weird.
Like people are really open on that app.
I don't know why.
It feels performative.
Yeah, almost, right?
I think some stuff in relationships don't need to be on social media. I don't think you need to post every
that
little
Kanye
thing.
stuff
funny
should not be on social
that
media.
should not be on social media.
It's uncomfortable.
It's Kanye
But then
posting
again,
most of the stuff.
Yeah,
right?
man.
But then again, like
you always see the jokes about like a meme or something like, how the boys be when she takes her boyfriend's name out of the bio, and then instantly like all the guys are trying to slide in some kind of joke like that, right? And like people are setting themselves up for that with social media in the first place.
I don't get it.
Okay, there's a hot girl on Instagram and she has her boyfriend's name in her bio, and then one day the name is out of the bio, so all the guys start sliding in her DM because they assume that she's broken up with her boyfriend.
That's a true point. That's a good point. Is you by choosing to do that on social media, people are aware of those changes, right? Like you are aware of that kind of thing. If you care about that kind of thing. Right, those guys are watching to see when the girl takes the guy's name out of the bio.
You might hear something about like an acquaintance that something may happen. Then you look at someone's Instagram, and all of a sudden, every couple photo that they had is gone.
Oh yeah,
and you're just like, okay, like what's going on here?
Everybody wants to play detective on social media.
Yeah, when people start posting like cryptic stories,
subtweeting.
Oh, subtweeting.
It's the same idea. To go back to you saying,
back in the day.
We had some subtweets back in the day.
Subtweeting is when you tweet about somebody without saying that it's about them, and it's so clearly about them, and if you knew them, you know it's about them. Stupid.
Basically everything without the at.
I remember back when Twitter was the thing, one of my friends back in high school was posting Above and Beyond lyrics about his breakup. And then he wanted me to like respond to it with the lyrics. He's like, "Yeah, do this, man. Like, it'll be sick, and they'll see it, and they'll know it's about them." And I'm like, "Okay."
And you did it.
Yeah, I did it for him. I was like, "Sure, man, I'll help you out.
Man.
Why not?" But like, that's the kind of stuff that used to happen when we were younger.
I think it's good to, like, if you're excited to post about your partner, awesome. That's cool. That's really cool. One thing I completely disagree with, is the sneaky like story post or Snapchat story, whatever it might be. What I mean by that part is like, when somebody takes a picture, they're out at dinner or something like that, they take a picture of the food, and in the corner, you got a hand there.
Some painted nails.
You got some painted nails.
Or unpainted nails.
Like, it's so clearly saying, look at me, I'm on a date. Fuck off. Like, just grow up. Just take a picture of the person, or don't take a picture of that. If you want to take a picture of the food, take a picture of the food. You're not doing that. There's this fucking mind game on social media, and I hate it. I think it's the most corny shit, man.
But
no personal attacks here.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
saying.
This is gonna be a TikTok right here.
Yeah.
Might
well,
be.
Devil's advocate. What if the other person on the camera, like on the other side of the
Mm.
camera, doesn't want to be posted? She doesn't want to be on his story.
But does she want her nails in his story or her purse?
Whoa, why? It could be the other way. Could be a girl taking a photo of a guy.
His
Same
nails,
thing.
his
I would be
purse?
hurt. I would be fucking hurt if I was on the other side of that. If I was out on a date with my girlfriend and she took a picture of like barely me, I'd be mad. I'd be like, yo, like why am I not in that?
Yeah,
Like,
like, why aren't you showing his face? What's
Yeah.
wrong with it?
exactly. Like I would be offended. I'd be like, is there something wrong with me today? Am I not okay? Like
Okay, I guess if it's boyfriend girlfriend, yeah. But if it's
that's
like
different.
yeah, if you're going on a date, then like okay.
If you're going on a date, don't take the goddamn picture. That's
I
my
know.
stance on it.
Yeah.
That's also corny too.
Yeah. Anyways, we've talked a lot about privacy within a relationship. It sounds like, to summarize, and we didn't get into like intense detail here, but at the start of your relationship, you might have been more private. You talked a little bit about being less likely to so willingly go through each other's phones, for example. That's not something you do. But 8 years into the relationship, almost 8 years in, that's commonplace for you. There's not a hesitation around it. There's a security in that because you don't care. You know so much about each other. You're not hiding anything, right? So go for it. You already know.
Yeah.
We did talk about as well the fact that that is still a private thing. Your phone is an extension of you. The technology is an extension of you.
I definitely
It's up
don't
to you how
think
much you wanna
that
share.
everybody should be like us, you know, and I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
okay. That's just the route that we've chosen.
Exactly.
I think it's very acceptable that if you could go your whole relationship without ever like knowing anyone's password or
That's
things
totally
like
fine.
that, right? It's just the boundaries, but people have to be okay with it.
Thank you for bringing up boundaries, because we did also talk about boundaries a little bit. We talked about it's important to set boundaries. And Cabs, you shared that you kind of are pretty quick to set boundaries these days.
Yeah.
At least when you're approaching
It's
your
better. I
relationship.
would say it's definitely better earlier
Yeah.
than later because you don't want to be fears in like, by the way, I actually believe this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, what?
But at the same time, it can sometimes be a lot when you're so quick to put up what may seem like walls, you know?
Yeah.
The other side of that is if you do not set boundaries, you might set yourself up for failure down the line, where now you're doubling back and you got to hope that your communication is good enough with your partner that you can have a real conversation to reset some boundaries. And that's okay
Like,
too.
why was that okay then, but not now?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That conversation doesn't really go
What
well
changed?
very often. You know?
So we talked about a lot of that with privacy within the relationship. We talked a little bit about privacy of your relationship to the public, right? And we'll talk more about that on later episodes too, because I do want to have a deeper conversation about privacy and the world, right? Like what you're actually keeping from social media. I think is worth talking about in more length. But anyways, thank you, Fanny and Evan, for coming on the pod.
Thank you.
World's greatest couple.
Oh, don't put that title on there. Too much pressure.
Number one. So
Cabs
should we kiss
is-
for the frame or?
No.
Cabs is on his way to Miami
Woo!
this week.
Find
So-
a girl.
Rave Bay.
Or a guy.
Cabs might get
Oh,
his
a
green
partner.
card. How about that?
Partner.
Huh?
Maybe Cabs will get his green card. Stay down there.
In
Why?
Miami?
Yeah.
You don't want him back?
Bienvenido a Miami.
Florida.
The big
I
booty
don't know.
Latina.
Hello.
Yeah, no.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás? So Cabs is going to be away this coming week. Maybe I think
film
we'll
me
still
out
get
without me?
one when you come back. I don't know. We'll see. I actually don't know yet.
Who's your replacement?
You're on FaceTime.
Yeah. Keep him right here.
Say sunglasses on. What?
But everybody listening and watching, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Yeah, I had a good talk. I appreciate y'all sharing a little bit about your relationship. And we'll see y'all next week with another one. Peace.